Rock and roll.
Good timing.
Exactly. Hi, Bubba. he like totally photobombed as soon as the recording started. Beautiful. Learning young.
All right. Ice cream cone? Is that what you said?
My character, I got my dice.
I've got your impending doom, so I think we're all set.
Get in there. Go.
Oh, cat making a run for it, huh?
Yeah, he likes to come out here.
He definitely got a I got caught look on his face there for a second though.
Yeah, I mean, typically I let him, but I don't want to deal with him right now. All right, buddy, gotta be quiet. All right, I'm ready.
So, last time we all gathered here together, you guys had pulled away from the docks at Seaside in a rainbow-colored, flamboyant drag queen pirate ship. While you were out and about, the intent was Tess had to go have a conversation with another captain, and as he verbed it, tax him maybe a little bit because there's some bad blood going on there. You guys found the other ship without much issue, and we're in the process of negotiating a pillaging for the other ship surrendered without a fight. You're about 3/4 of the way done with this negotiation portion when apparently an upwelling of waterlogged zombies decided to join the party. Started out really well and things were going pretty easy, but you quickly realized you were getting basically swamped and buried in these things. They were coming over the rail faster than you could kill them. And in a moment of panic, Iris seems to have gone nuclear. The concussive blast knocked everybody off their feet, either rendering some unconscious, temporarily blinding others with just the flash of light. When your vision returned, you realized every single zombie gone. There's a few corpses left on deck with some bits and pieces of chopped off, but you guys had about 40 some odd zombies on deck between the two boats, and it seems to have cleared the decks. After regaining your composure, you finished taking half of the other ship's cargo, finished roughing up the assorted sacrifices because the process got interrupted and apparently somebody needed at least one broken arm before it was over. But you parted ways. You parted ways cordially enough. The bosun still sweating and pale.
No. Okay, you need to go inside. You're not listening, bud. We're doing our game. You're gonna be in here making noise and drama. You need to go inside.
On the journey back, the only real notable thing, I should say, was Iris seemed to have reverted back into her cowl, her robe. She had her hood up. She was fully. You guys more or less made it to shore, and at one point she walks behind the mainmast. And as she does, she doesn't reappear out the other side. As soon as line of sight happens, it just seems to disappear into thin air. Not even a puff of smoke, just gone. Nobody else seems to even flinch at this. Tess just gets around to hollering down to the pier and getting on with things, and his first mate's running all over, arranging and starting offloads, and the two of you had pretty much just wandered off the ship, and Tess said she'd get back a hold of you in a couple days if you were still interested. heading out to this island that she knows about. Last I heard, it sounded like that would be the plan. But until then, you got about 48 hours of what do you want to do?
We were going back to the tavern to do our nightly singing and guard duty.
I would like to stop and get some more of the bandages.
Sure. If you've got a price written down that you've paid for him previously, this is the beauty of Ned's. He's price agreed across the board. So what you pay for one in town A, you pay for in town B. Now,
So
if you
what
go,
are you? Hold on. What are you looking for, Mike? Magical compress, healing potion, healing gummies.
I'm gonna do the bandages or the compress thing and the gummies.
Okay, bandages were 6 for a gold piece.
6.
Heals 1 hit point and stops bleeding. And you said gummies?
Yeah.
Heal 5 hit points and they're 1 gold piece.
Okay. So I'll spend my money accordingly for those.
rock and roll. Now, if we're at a store that's not Ned's, those prices will not be in concrete the way Ned does. But that'll be a
Okay.
whole other topic.
But Ned's is pretty common in every city, though.
Ned's price matches at Ned's all across the nation. They're a franchise and they honor their own prices, and that's part of his thing. Is he's like, this is my price, take it or leave it. And you found that for the most part, Ned doesn't gouge. He's got good stuff. It works. It's yeah.
And their franchise is pretty common across the lands.
Pretty much every major city. This might be on the smaller side. You might have a dinky Ned's that doesn't have quite the selection, but there's a Ned's.
Okay.
So,
cool.
One of these days, I'll have to figure out where Ned's headquarters is, because that's where they have the cool shit. You know,
it's Ned quarters.
Ned quarters. Ooh, I'm using that. Yep.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay. So the evening, unless you want to do anything specific, is pretty uneventful. I mean, it's your usual ruckus. It's the usual crowd, but you've gotten the crowd into a routine. The regulars are starting. It seems like even before you start playing, it seems like they're trying to do your jostle, your rotation that you'd been. But the minute the melody starts, you see some of them, they start bopping their heads along a little bit, and you see the atmosphere in the room just generally lightening. You haven't even started putting effort into it yet, just the routine of it. Because that's the other thing. You guys have been here long enough. You're really starting to see that, you know, that one bald guy, he comes in here at least twice a day and picks up some sort of edibles. Not even quite sure what he's after, but he seems to be a diehard. Other people come in that there's one, he's like in every third day, but what he takes out of here, it looks like a grocery bag full of assortments. So yeah, there's regulars, and then you see that the ones that really tickle your fancy is every once in a while you get somebody to come in, it's like their first time. And they step in and they like stand in the corner and look around, looking like the young kid in the big city for the first time. And but eventually it's almost like you get a mentor, and somebody will eventually be like, come on, and holds them into the crowd. And
so in other words, it was probably like the first time I went to the dispensary to buy some weed.
If it's got that vibe.
Oh yeah, I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Where I grew up, inundated. Hey, hon, there a Coke Zero in here that's supposed to be being drank by you? Or a Sprite Zero, I mean?
Nope, I didn't.
By me?
Yeah, there's a Sprite Zero sitting in here next to your skinny minis.
Probably.
Oh, okay. So when you wonder where it's at, it's right there.
Okay. We grabbed another replacement, so
Okay, okay. I can't tell if it's open. Doesn't look like it is.
shouldn't be.
Cool. It's in timeout.
Bad Sprite.
That's Sprite, no donut. Okay. So, again, just gonna do some light shopping and hang out in town for 2 days.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a board in town for like side jobs?
There's at least a rumor mill going around, but down by the docks, there's a wanted poster board, and it's got other things like help wanted and criminals wanted. It's just called the wanted board.
I'm gonna wander
Yeah.
down to the wanted board then.
Okay. Did you happen to catch the picture I sent you?
Yep.
Okay. That poster's predominantly hanging up in one corner.
Oh wait,
And
maybe I'm thinking of a different. Are you talking about the eyes?
no, before that, in group
Oh, I
chat.
don't- Which one was it?
Hold on, I'll do it again.
Let me go grab my phone. Quick.
I still has it.
Oh.
And group chat and gallery and
Hmm.
Okay, so the picture of this guy's on the board.
there.
I-
I resent it.
That's trippy. Did you AI art that?
Yep.
Damn, I'm curious what kind of prompt you put in for that. That's cool.
I think it was something to the effect of human wizard, steampunk, cyberpunk, Borg,
That's cool.
anyway, old. Yeah, I have this fun game where I stick in the first 10 or so prompts and then I add more onto it until it gives me something closer to what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah. I've gotten into it's become art to me. I enjoy it.
I like it. That's the name.
Melkor.
All right.
What'd you say?
Melkor, Melchor. I spelled it out there for you on text, but
No.
it's kind of a huge poster. What even really blows your mind is it says alive 9,000 gold.
Damn. That's a lot of
That's some cheddar.
900,000. Whoo!
You have to buy a small castle.
Are there any details, or does it just say alive 9,000?
Alive and 9,000. At the bottom, there is a number code, which you remember back in the shed, or maybe it was in the bunk room at the halfway point. A guy gave you a business card with a number on it. This is a corresponding size number.
Yep, and I got Tessa's number too.
So you recognize that if you were to go to Ned's and punch that number in, you'd be able to leave a message.
Okay.
If information leading to, or I have him, or I saw him at Walmart last week, whatever the message may be. Yeah.
Okay.
There's other things on there like you know, we got a rat problem. Every town seems to have a goddamn rat problem. And you know,
So-
most of them are pretty much, you know, your standard rats. And every once in a while you hear a horror story about, oh my God, those aren't rats, those are small bears. But anywho, that kind
Well,
of stuff.
Other than him, there's no real like kind of standout job or anything.
Like I said, it's a bunch of odd job little stuff. There's
Okay.
nothing extravagant. Mostly down at the docks here, the labor is dock related, and it goes through the dock master, the stevedoring master down on the docks, and he issues out. And you worked with him for a little bit earlier
Yep.
in the, and he plugged you in with that whole lugging around the Yorks,
Yeah.
throwing them down chutes. So
Did the for the poster of Melkor, is
Uh-huh.
there a business card with the number on it that I can
not
take?
an actual card, but the number could be jotted down because you can manually punch it in.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and like take note of that number. So I'm gonna put
Okay. Just write
Go
down
ahead.
something like Melkor's wanted poster number,
okay.
because I'm not going to give you a number because it won't mean
Yeah.
anything.
Wanted number. All right.
27905. Is there a niner in there?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. What's a niner?
All right, so yeah, I'll take note of the number, and then other than that, I'll just head back to the bar and do our thing.
Over the next couple days, doing your thing, doing the night and wandering around in town, you start hearing an occasional comment that keeps floating around. The carnival's coming. The fair's coming. We got to be due sometime soon. Is anybody that? No, it's got to be at least 3 or 4 weeks out. No, it's almost 2 months out now. But the gossip seems to start. You know how it does. It flutters through that the circus is coming or the carnival is coming. They use different terms for it, but the buzz really seems to start. And being from this realm, you kind of know what they're talking about because there's a train that does laps that has exotic animals and exotic performers and, you know, cool shit. The fair's coming. Usually comes around about once a month or once every other month, so half a dozen times a year. Just runs this circuit because if you do the trains right, it goes all the way around. And yeah, you know, the rumor is it should be coming soonish. And
Talk to
So
our
there's-
proprietor lady. The tavern lady.
Minnie,
Yeah.
okay.
These snacks that everybody keeps buying that we had, you know, there's the pretzels and the whatnot. Are
Mhm.
there any that make people sleepy?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I have pretty much what you're looking for. She just kind of smirks. Do you got? Paint me a picture. Tell me what you look for. I'll tell you what I got.
If I wanted to say knock somebody out for a few hours so they just stay asleep and not.
We've got lotions and potions of numerous kinds that'll get you in that realm. How big a hurry are you in? Are we putting somebody to sleep who's going to be sitting on a guard duty for 6 hours, or do we want to slap somebody and they fall asleep now?
Do I overhear this, by the way? Am I nearby?
I would imagine you guys are rolling together, and she stepped over to talk to Minnie, so you could eavesdrop.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna just kind of out of my ear listen.
Kind of.
Like-
Well, I want him to fall asleep pretty much right away, but I want it to be something they have to eat.
Okay.
Maybe I could slap them with it. I mean, that might work too. I
Eating,
don't have anybody in particular in mind. I just,
of course not. And Minnie winks.
Hey, no, those are not yours.
Well, I think the best thing I could get for you, if you're willing to get them somehow to consume this object, is we we have Z balls. I don't know what else. We just call them Z balls. Most people eat one. It's a small, about the size, for reference, it's about the size of a raisinette, little lump of chocolate. And one of them will, 15, 20 minutes, you're going to be out. You eat two of them, it's about 5 minutes and you're out hard. If you can get them to eat three, I'd say 30 seconds and they're out for the rest of the night and sleeping the sleep of the dead. I wouldn't feed them more than three. We've had some side effect issues in the past. Well, frankly, with most of this stuff, if you eat too much of it, frankly, but yeah, you eat too many of them, and I've even heard rumors that somebody had to get kissed by a prince to wake back up afterwards. It seemed a little pervy to me, but no, I didn't ask questions. We provide merchandise. We don't take responsibility for what people do while using it.
okay, okay. So how much would it be for, I don't know, 6 of them?
A 6-pack of them is a gold piece.
Okay, I will take those.
Cool. Cool.
And was it the licorice that kept you awake?
Oh, God, I don't remember. I think I wrote it down. Let me. Okay, I see my arrow. What do we got here? Okay. Yeah, the black and the red licorice are energizers. They're caffeine without the jitters. One of our best sellers.
Is there any difference between the black and red?
Flavor.
Okay, we're going with red licorice.
Right, right. And the little sleepy ones are called night nights.
Night nights.
They're anti-anxiety and sleep aids. One of them will give you a nice night's sleep, 2 of them will knock you on your ass, and 3 of them will put you down for the count. And quick. The pretzels are anti-anxiety, and the gummy bears are motivators. They remove inhibitions and give you the patience of a saint.
Ooh.
Parents love those ones.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
those real?
I'm
Can I
gonna
get them?
get 6 red licorice and 6 gummy bears.
Okay. You're going to get 6 bundles of red licorice because each one's like a bundle of licorice.
Okay.
Most people, a bundle will last you all day if you snack on it like hourly. So I guess each bundle's like 16 little licorice sticks. They're not huge. They're like, but people munch on them like 1 an hour. Some people are 2-pack a day folk. It gets harsh, but
Yikes. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, the licorice is the motor or the energizer one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
Caffeine-
like, wait, I thought we were only supposed to eat 3 of those.
Caffeine without the jitters.
All right. Oh man, 2 packs a day. They must
Things
not.
listed.
What?
You have those things listed, so I don't need to write down the details.
I do have those listed, and I have room on here for a whole lot more if we want to get really fun with it,
Okay.
which works for me.
Okay. So after that, I think I'm good to go when.
So the morning of rolls around, and arrangements have been made. And for the first time, you see Tess light. The best way to put it. Her colors are a little more muted. Her outfit is a lot more reserved. The ship is still its flamboyant self as you approach it on the docks. But pretty much everybody on board is in either minimal drag or quieter drag. More like work clothes, I guess you would refer to it, as opposed to pomp and circumstance clothing. Seems like they're taking this sail, this leg of the journey much more seriously. And to help emphasize that, you find Tess standing on deck with a look on her face that looks a lot like a thundercloud. She looks upset. She looks almost angry. As you guys wander up the gangplank, her eyes turn and look at you, and she just throws her hands up.
Do
Walk
we have
over
a
to her. What's going on, Tess?
I wouldn't say we have a problem. I guess I'm just. The journey's still a go. And he turns and points, and sitting in the corner, towel and robe pulled up around her, you see Iris. You can't quite see her face, but she seems to be folded in on herself. Can you two convince her to stay here? I told her this time isn't a. I told her it wouldn't be safe. I told her she's gonna get.
Or I'll go try to convince her.
Okay.
I'll
You
just
put in.
a test, yeah.
You put in a masterful performance of persuasion, and in response, you don't even get eye contact. Not a word. Doesn't even acknowledge you're there. She just sits in her robe, folded up. She could be a statue with as much attention and response as you're getting. Finally, Tess wanders over and leans in and goes, the last thing she said to me before she went quiet was, don't bother arguing. And then she just sat down.
I guess she's coming because
And Tess wanders off.
I mean, I can pick her up and just take her off the ship if you so have it.
You get one response from that. Your left foot hurts a lot. You look down and realize she zapped you with some sort of energy bolt right in the top of the foot, just above your shoe line. It's got a little red sore spot there. And as your eyes travel up to see, she just slowly shakes her head underneath the cowl and goes back to being stoic and unresponsive.
Well, I guess she's gone.
Yeah, and emphasized by the, love it. Tess finally heaves a sigh of reconciliation, gives a quick whistle, and you hear lines being unlashed, and the boat creaks slightly as it slowly eases away from the dock. And you're off. The journey's mellow enough. You guys cruise out beyond the breakwater line where the water gets a little choppy. But the weather's gorgeous, a little warm and balmy this far south. But you know the heat's not going to last too much longer because somebody famous once said winter is coming. So
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
but let's see what happens. Tell you what, you guys don't have dice right this minute, so I will
dice.
Roll me 3 6-sides and tell me what each one of them says.
3, 5, 4.
Jesus Christ. Okay,
6,
that's cool.
5, 2.
Oh, you found dice?
Yeah, I have dice.
Ooh, aren't you fancy?
I brought it
Okay.
out with me.
As you guys are heading out, Tess had made it relatively clear that it is about 3 days each way, assuming weather holds well. And for you guys, it couldn't do much better. You guys have a tailwind the whole way. The weather is calm and mild, beautiful days. Second day out, the crew cracks out some fishing gear, and you guys end up having an impromptu hibachi grill right there on deck, where they crack out a big steel plate and heat that sucker up, and they're throwing fresh fish right out of the ocean on it. And at the end of day 2, about an hour before the sun hits the horizon, you hear a familiar whistle out of the crow's nest. Boy, Captain, we seem to have eyes on landfall, and it's the only island out here. We made exceptional time. We cut almost a half a day off our journey. Captain just kind of nods and looks at the two of you. About an hour till dark. Do we approach now, or do we anchor offshore and be patient?
I think we anchor offshore and go in the morning.
I can get behind that idea. And with that, Tess hollers a couple things out. The first mate hollers a couple things out. And the boat comes around to the east side of the island. Gets about 100 yards off. And you hear somebody up at the front of the boat. 4 fathoms. 4 fathoms. As the boat slowly eases its way towards shore. 6 fathoms. 5 fathoms. Keep creeping and creeping. Till he hollers out 3 fathoms. And Tess goes, "That's close enough. Anchor off." And you see numerous small anchors tossed overboard, like grappling, but they're designed to sink, and each rope's tied off. And the boat slowly eases up against the taut ropes and just slowly starts bobbing on the surf. And Tess walks up. Well, little camping excursion here on deck, I think, tonight, and we'll leave a few people on lookout. Tomorrow, we invade. I think we should convene in my office, and I will share with you the details of what we got in front of us. If we want to eat in there, it'd probably be a great opportunity.
Sounds good to me.
Tess leads you into his quarters. She hops down, plops down, I should say, into her chair behind her desk. Grabs a couple rolls of parchment that were sitting just to the side and starts unfurling them. The first one is a rough sketch of what it looks like this island. At least the east coast of it looks pretty similar to what you're looking at. And pretty much right in the center of this decent sized island, it shows a town. Buildings, structures, whatnot. And Tess says, this is a very, very old map. This is what the town used to look like. They had a bit of an issue some 40 some odd years ago now. And the city was basically razed to the ground. Almost nothing left standing. Root foundations of walls and some streets are still intact, but nature has started taking a fair bit of this island back. And as you rolled up, you notice it's a green island. Trees cover the internal area, lots of shrubbery. You hear see plenty of birds flying in and out, and you hear bigger animals on the island. Sounds like maybe there's some monkeys that have called this place home. It's a little tropical looking, probably reptiles and snakes galore. But for the last 40 years, anyone who comes to this island, hardly anyone ever gets back. And I intend to change that today. I intend to change that with your help. It's a big ask, and if things get too hairy, I got no problem if we pull back. But all my research says this is going to be worth the trip. I don't know how else to word it besides that, but
What is it that's keeping people from returning?
that's half the question here. Something seems to be a handful of people that have come back have reported that they hit the beach and were basically assaulted by small mechanical clockwork type beings. Many of them looked similar to animals or crabs or other natural shapes, and some of them seem to be a hybrid almost. Like it started out as a crab, but now its right claw and arm and a couple of its legs seem to be made out of brass. That kind of reports seems a little fantastical to me, and Tess just kind of rolls her eyes as she says it.
Well, as far-fetched as it sounds, I did see on the wanted board a picture of a guy that kind of looked mechanical. Yeah.
Melkor.
Yeah. So,
He's an old wives' tale. People have been hunting him for I don't know, a couple decades now.
just saying, it sounds kind of similar. Maybe there is something there.
I think we can hope not, because from what I've heard of Melkor, he's a real piece of work, and I don't know that any of us is up for dancing with him.
Well, that's kind of what I gathered from looking at the poster and the reward entailed with it. But.
Yeah, and that number's steadily grown decade after decade. As time goes on, that number just gets bigger and bigger. Somebody's got a hard on for Melkor, and they want him. They want him bad. The fact that it's asking for him alive says a lot, though.
That could be the difficult part. Well, sounds to me like it could be difficult anyway. But anyway, that's beside the point, I guess.
As this conversation is going on, the door to the cabin opens. Iris steps 2 steps inside the door while still holding onto the door handle itself. Her eyes come up. She looks square at Tess. I'm coming with. And she turns around and closes the door behind her and leaves.
I'm just gonna do the awkward kind of like look around the room thing.
You hear from Tess's chest. If it was a warm, happy sound, it would sound like a purr. But there's a touch of, oh my god, to it that makes it come out more like a guttural growl. Finally, she takes a deep breath, shakes her head a little bit.
You just look at Tess and shrug.
Are either of you parents?
No.
Oh. Well, at least not that I know of.
Touche. Well, bless their hearts, but oh god. Did you bring your bed out to the garage?
For blanket.
Just the blanket. That's close.
I'm gonna snuggle up, Arya.
Ooh, bike. Please. If you want to do those, we'll do them tomorrow. All right, now, please.
I'll show them.
Okay, you can show them real quick.
Can I show the bubbles too?
Yeah.
Bubbles. It's a
Yeah,
bubble shooter.
Bubbly enough for the bubble club.
lots of bubbles.
Yeah, hold it for a second. Show them how much bubbles it puts out. Not well. Do it that way. That way. Turn. Nope. Come here. Over here. Now do it that way. There you go. Look at all those bubbles.
That's a bubble storm.
All right. There you go.
Yep.
Can I see bubbles?
No, we're playing our game.
If you go on YouTube and look up Bubbles recipe, you can build ultimate bubble sauce to go in one of those. It makes amazing bubbles.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tried it the other day with just dish soap and water, but it didn't work.
Glycerin.
You need to add glycerin.
Glycerin. Okay.
You go to Walmart into the pharmaceutical area and they sell a bottle of glycerin that looks like Caro syrup, is about as thick as Caro syrup. And I don't remember how much to add. I'd have to look it up myself.
Huh.
But you add that in and it creates the surface tension of the bubble gets a whole lot stronger. So when you blow a bubble, it stays a bubble a lot longer. So when you go outside, and it's when those people, you see those ones, they blow those giant bubbles and it floats away for like a mile.
Yeah.
It's because it's got glycerin in it.
All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
I'll do that. That
The
sounds awesome.
magic sauce.
What's really funny is have Arya take that bubble gun and run around to the park with it and go down the slides and stuff with it. It is so funny to watch those bubbles go everywhere.
Everywhere. And of course, you can make like a 5-gallon bucket of this stuff for 7 cents or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh,
Yep.
we're doing that because we just bought one of these, just the refill thingies. Just been
Yeah.
using,
Right.
but
And they all right.
I mean, yeah, it works for the kids. But if we can make badass bubbles, hell yeah, we're gonna make badass bubbles.
Bitchin' bubbles.
That's right.
On the topic of bubbles, if you want to look up something very beautiful, look up frozen bubbles. And you can see people that go in, like in Minnesota, they'll blow a bubble and you can watch the ice form on the skin of the bubble.
I've seen those, yeah.
I'm like, oh
It's
my
super
God, that's
cool.
it's so cathartically gorgeous.
It's like visual ASMR.
Yep.
As opposed to touching ASMR, which is what I'm into. But
Anyway,
so anyway, each of you roll me another 6-side.
4.
Okay. There's a brief concern about middle of the night as the night watch says they see something on shore, but they can't tell what it is, and it never seems to approach the ship out in the water. So it's kind of just a caution run, but nothing major happens. As pre-dawn light starts filling the harbor, you guys wake up, meet Tess up on deck. You see Iris standing there in a much more reserved outfit. Her hair is gone, almost a battleship gray. It's tied back in a real tight braid. No flamboyant outfit this time, more serviceable. But she's still got that confused, not quite sure what's going on, mixed with, go ahead, tell me I'm not coming one more time, Tess. Glare every once in a while. Every time she flicks it in Tess's direction, you audibly hear Tess gulp. But you guys meet at the railing. 3 burly looking sailors standing there with you, each of them carrying a good sized club, dressed in light leather armors. Tess looks at the 2 of you, looks at Iris, looks at the 3 burly sailors. I spent all night trying to decide if I was coming with you guys or not. I think I'm staying with the ship. Is that all right?
This was Tess saying that?
Correct. And you got cut off, dear.
I said, of course.
Okay. You see Tess relax just a little bit. I was feeling a little guilty, I guess, about bringing you all out here to do a project this outlandish and not putting myself on the front lines with you. But I feel like I could truly do more help back here. What I can guarantee you is when you come back, I'll be waiting. I will not abandon you. And there's a calm, stoic tone to her voice. Even as deep and resonant as it is, it sounds truly heartfelt.
While she's saying this, after she mentions that she's not coming, and she says, "Okay, I'm gonna kind of visibly just kind of stand up straighter and cross my arms and give out kind of like a grunt of disapproval."
Okay. See if she notices. Yeah, she didn't see shit. She's busy apologizing. It was a 5 and a 1. And then she turns and looks at the 3. You know what your job here is. Don't let us down. They kind of nod. One of them gives a test thump with his club on the railing. We're good. Each of them is carrying a 2-dimensional backpack on their backs. What are you guys bringing? Anything beyond your usual kit? Bringing extra rope? Are you bringing coconuts? You bringing a bottle of rum?
I have my normal bag and I don't know. I want to say it's a little bandolier with some grenades and potions on it.
All right. On
How
that
long?
top, good.
How long are we thinking this is supposed to take?
If you're not back by dark, I'm gonna start worrying like a lot and feel really bad that you died.
Well, just in case, let's pack some food, and maybe some. Well, I don't know. Do your men have rope and?
They've got a basic adventuring kit, pretty much. They got some ball bearings and some rope and a couple nails and maybe a hammer.
Do you have a grappling hook by chance?
Absolutely. And he gestures to the railing, and there's the big honking border ones that are like this big across, big old thick things.
Do you have something that's more, carryable and portable?
She snaps her fingers, and her first mate pops up almost like magic at her side. Says, "Captain." Tess turns and looks at her and goes, "I need you to get the adventuring hook." And the first mate just looks at Tess like, "The adventuring hook?" Tess nods. First mate runs off into Tess's quarters. Tess just kind of. Now, if you look at the island from here, just to the left of center, you can see that raised mound area. That would be the easternmost side of the city. The city's not very large, but it's kind of overgrown. As you get up into it, take your time. The reports of strange creatures in here have been, well, limited, but disturbing to say the least. So, and this conversation goes on just a few more moments when the first mate comes back out with what looks like a softball in her hand. On one side of it, there's a coiled up section of rope, unlike anything you've ever seen before. Tess slowly scoops the contents of this orb and these filament almost from his first mate. And she goes, "Okay, how's this working for you?" She gives a quick twirl and kind of lobs it up towards the main mast, which right in the middle of it, there's no ropes, there's no cross members, just hits the edge of the center pole and sticks. The rope uncoils lightly, and Tessa's still holding one end of it. And with utter ease, climbs up this rope, clear up to where the orb is. To look at this rope, it looks whimsically thin, like it would cut through your hands like a hot knife. It looks like fishing line, but a little heavier. Like if you were fishing for marlin, heavy duty fishing line. But Tess seems fine as she slides back down the rope, which would give any idiot a rope burn from hell. Doesn't seem to be a problem. Then she pulls on it and gives a quick right hand twist to her wrist. And the orb just pops loose and flutters back down, and she catches it. She goes, "Does that work for you?" And she holds out it's just a loner. She's a little precious to me, so bring her back. Same
Well,
should
if I
be
die,
said.
I might get it back, but
The same needs to be said for her as she points at Iris. Precious, bring it back, with a little more sternness to her voice.
I mean,
Look
if
at
you're
Tess
that
and
pretty,
say,
it
I
would
take no responsibility for her. I tried to make her stay. It is her choice to go.
and if it's that big of a deal to you to keep her safe, maybe. Super cute.
Adorable.
Careful.
I can see up your nose.
What's with the sour?
That's how he shows me.
Hey, let's not snort boogies out of on the keyboard, guy. All right. Why don't you guys say goodnight and go get in bed?
Yeah, you have a nice nose too.
Good night. Don't let the bug bite.
No bug biting?
Good night.
And don't let the fire ants bite.
Ooh, she upped her game. The fire
They
ants.
Ant too.
Uh-huh.
I
Good
definitely like find my
Good night.
I know, baby. I know. All right. I'll see you later. I love you. After a while, Crocodile.
Her brother waited for her to get almost to the door and then tried to close it.
Yep, that's what he does. He's a little shithead.
Brothers, gotta love them. As this, I'm taking no credit for her, it's her choice thing. Tess kind of just, you see her wilt a little bit. The first time you've seen her not look confident or in charge. This seems like genuine worry.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'll do whatever I can to keep her alive. But if she does something else stupid, I can't stop that.
You hear a tiny foot stomp on the deck behind you. At the corner of your eye, you see Iris whirl and walk away from this conversation.
Understands me well, I say, and I'll step up onto the gangplank.
Down below, a long rope, a punt of a boat is waiting. Enough room for a few people to row and a half a dozen people to make landfall. You guys load into the boat. The sailors take up a set of oars, start rowing you in. It's a pretty easy row. The ride ends pretty calm. Eventually you feel the keel of the boat hit sand as you hit right up about 5 feet from the edge of the water. The boat hits sand. A couple of the sailors hop out and start dragging the boat up onto the shore. So they do. You guys are looking inland. And across the rocky inlet and the sandy bar where you guys have landed, you do see glints of light, almost little flashes of golden light, yellowish, coppery colored light, every once in a while reflected between this rock or off that piece of beach down that way. But you can't tell what it's coming from. The light just seems to be glint, glinting and sparkling every once in a while.
And it's like what time? It's like early morning.
Yeah, I'd say it's like an hour after sunup. You guys got up before dawn and got prepped and ready and gathered a few things.
Okay.
Yeah, sun's pretty low on the horizon, still trying to rise.
And Tess gave us the map, right? To use.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll just kind of let's see here. I guess what is our goal again? We're just going to see what the hell's going on this island?
Fair enough.
Okay.
The island has been deserted for 40 years. It used
Right.
to be the home to a mage school. Mage schools reportedly had some really awesome shit, as in items, spells that are unheard of or lost to the ages now. Stuff from days gone by that have just literally been lost. The information and the power available, if any of it survived, is worth a fair amount of danger to retrieve. This is a tomb run. We're gonna go see what we can.
Okay. All right. So I guess I don't know. Should we just maybe head towards the center of town?
Yeah. Well, is the mage school in the center of town?
The mage school is like the center of town. The town built up around it, and the town's not very big. And when I say town, I'm referring to more like, say, a college town where there's a university hub, and around it you have like dorms and food establishments and stores that just naturally happen because the school's there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'd say let's just start making our way according to the map towards the center of town.
The two sailors that rowed you guys to the beach say they're going to stay with the boat and keep it safe. The three burly ones with their clubs are ready to roll. Iris is standing a little ways away from you guys, still wrapped up. No, she ditched her cloak, but she's still standing there wrapped up in her own emotions, it seems. And periodically you'll see her finger point out a small bolt of energy. Psst. And something on the beach and a little bit of sand to go poof. A few seconds later, poof, poof. And you look down and you realize the beach is slowly moving with bugs, crabs, other objects, not like seething with them, but something run by, something. And you realize if something runs past her, she blows it up. Poof. Just little spurts of energy. Poof. Closer look at these things, because a few of them now you notice glints of light. And sure enough, that crab that just ran by, its left pincher looked like it was made out of copper. A little corroded, a little green, but still working. And he's scooping stuff up and shoving it in his little mouth like crabs do.
So everything on the crab looked organic except for the claw.
On that one, yeah.
Okay.
Another one, a small turtle hobbles down the beach, and his whole shell looks like it's metallic, but the critter seems biological. And it scampers down into the water. He's about the size of your foot. He's not very big.
Okay.
Poof.
I want to pick up one and examine it.
Okay. So you reach down and you scoop up this little crab with one claw he gets on your hand and he tries scampering to the edge and gets to the edge and kind of teeters a little bit and pulls back. Seems to be acting an awful lot like a crab.
Tell how the metal claw has been attached. I mean, does it look like something the crab can actually use?
Do you want to get real? It's absolutely using it. It's
Okay.
sifting through. It's ambulatory. Absolutely. Do you want to get like super close and see how well it's attached or whatever?
Can I get closer than already holding it?
Well, you can get your like.
Okay, I'm gonna take its claw and pull it off.
Give me a strength check.
Crab claws tonight.
Kind of crunchy.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick.
For sure.
I got pee.
3 hours.
That quick.
An 11. You hear a popping and metallic tinking noise. We'll wait for his tinking to finish.
Right.
It'll be fun watching it back later.
But then I'm afraid I'd forget to.
Yeah, that's all good. That's pretty good. It canceled out the sound of you tearing the cellophane of the bag open. It
Nice.
just went. It went. Nope.
I like it.
I just wish it would decide my wife's voice isn't background noise. But
I know, right? It just must be the frequency.
it's something.
Doesn't matter what I use. If I use my headphones, I have two different pairs of headphones I've tried. Just the computer speaker and my microphone.
Yeah, that's really weird.
And it's been numerous. This is the second computer it happens on too. Because she had to replace her laptop recently, and it's still continued.
So yeah, it's got to be
She's
something to
messed-
do with the frequency of your voice.
Uh huh.
That's funny.
I joked with her that it just thinks she's insignificant background noise, but yeah, it seemed ornery enough. It was. So you grab onto this little crab's claw. As you twist and pull, it takes more effort than you expected, but eventually you hear some pops and tings, and you see a couple little cogs like ding spring off into land in the sand at your feet. But the claw eventually pulls free, leaving a little metallic stump just kind of. The crab itself kind of freaks out at this though and doesn't give a shit that it's at the edge of a cliff and runs off your hand and lands on the dirt and just scampers off, leaving you with the claw.
Pocket the claw.
Cool. Meanwhile,
Continue
look up
moving inland.
Iris is just poof. Every 30 seconds or so, she nukes something with just poof. Anytime one of these things gets anywhere near her, she just vaporizes it. And because of what she's nuking, they just poof, and there's pretty much just a little puff of dust left. You guys start heading inland, and there's obviously bigger game on this island because there's game trails. Do you want to use any of them? Most of them head inland away from the water, which is roughly where you want to go. And the jungle's rather thick, but you could get through it with a little motivation and maybe a machete.
We should use one of the game trails.
Okay. Game trail it is.
You've got the three of you and your three thugs. What's your game plan?
Me and a thug up front, two thugs in the back, and then the two ladies in the middle.
To argue.
You guys start heading inland. You guys are moving through the grassy pre-jungle. Every once in a while, Iris will zap a bug out of the air that's flying by. She just really doesn't seem to want any of this stuff anywhere near anything. Anytime it gets within a certain radius of her, she's at least taking a shot. She's missed a couple times, but for the most part, she's been a really amazing bug zapper.
Is it loud?
Sometimes when they pop kind of like a bug zapper. But as far as her magic, it's not like a bug zapper in that it's going, but it's just, and the bug, it seems like the more metallic the object, the louder the pop, which is an interesting, but yeah.
Okay.
Every once in a while, she squeaks a little bit if it looks like one got a little too close before she manages to incinerate it. But you guys make it to the trees, and finally these small pesky bugs around you seems to be tapering off. It's a little darker under here. On the game trail, you get a little better light, but not much. The undergrowth leans out underneath the trees because there's just not enough light for much to grow down here. And it starts feeling like an old growth forest, but very tropical, very. Occasionally, a large blooming flower will appear deep into the woods to either side as you move in. And the sounds change. Under the canopy, you start hearing frogs. You start hearing different types of birds. And more distinctly, you start hearing monkeys howling. You hear them rustling in the trees up above you sometimes. You've yet to see one, but you haven't been in the jungle part very long. The first thing really out of the ordinary that seems to catch your attention is up the path a little ways. Fenrir, you and your thug buddy up front both see standing in the middle of this walkway a monkey. A very hybrid, a very cybernetic, a very part man, part machine. Monkey, just kind of chilling there, looking around a little bit. You see his tail swish, and you realize it's completely mechanical. But it's prehensile, a lot like a normal, say, chimpanzee's type table, or not chimpanzee. Anyway, can't remember the type of monkey I'm thinking of. Smaller than chimps, and they got long ass tails.
A capuchin?
Yeah, there you go. That's the word I couldn't find. And his tail is just, but you can tell it looks like brass. There's no tarnish on it. It's rather pretty. Portions of his abdomen are open, and you can see the clockwork inside slowly. Top of his head on one side has got a steel plate, or what looks like steel. It's that gunmetal gray. Looks like it's riveted into the side of his head. It's just sitting there. Every once in a while, it'll pick up like a leaf and look at it, drop it. Two of its fingers on one hand are mechanical, the rest of it's flesh.
Does it seem to notice us?
If it does, it's not reacting.
How far away is it?
50 feet.
I'm gonna look at it and just kind of go, ooh, 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 ooh. See if I can get its attention.
Its eyes turn and look towards the.
I'm gonna just kind of wave at it.
Just sits there.
I'll slowly start making my way forward. Just slowly
walking
kind
towards
of
it too.
out.
You guys get to within about 20 feet of it before you see much change. You hit about the 20-foot mark, and you see it go from a seated squat to like up onto its feet, but crouched still. It just, and he gets a look on his face. Not quite sure.
I'll go another 5 feet forward.
Okay. It springs to its feet and dives straight to its left into the underbrush. Ducks behind a couple trees, and you see the last you see of it is it scampering up the trunk of one of these trees into the lower branches. Just vanishes fast. I mean, really fast. If you were to associate it, you'd say movement speed of 50, and you guys are 30. So yeah, it booked it. When it went, it screamed, howled, I guess would be a good term for it. And you heard a half a dozen replies from the canopy up above.
Oh. I guess I'm gonna keep heading forward. Just maybe paying a little bit better attention to, for like movement, like monkey movement.
You get another 30 feet or so, and the thug watching next to you goes, "Ah!" As the right side of his face is plastered with a sticky brown substance that you're not quite sure where it came from, until the smell hits you and you realize he got monkey tagged. And he's just, it got my mouth. Oh my God.
Digitation on him.
In a moment, all of this matter turns to kind of a crumbly dust and falls away. And he turns and looks at you, and his eyes are wide. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And just as he says it, another claw just misses his head, flies right over it, and lands on the other side of him. As you turn and look from this second volley, you see a different, where he's got different components, some flesh, some monkey hanging from one of the lower branches, reloading as he hangs there.
I press to digitate while it's sitting in his hand.
He's about 50 feet away. What's the range on press?
It's a good question. And
Okay. I would give you, what's the cast? Is it instant cast?
um, one action.
So basically, you could try to catch it in midair with prestidigitation.
Step close enough to it and then do it.
You're just gonna walk right up to the tree.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your armor class?
14.
Yeah. You get about 20 feet away and are hit with 2 more from up in the upper canopy as you get closer to that tree. And the one that you can see is still loading his hand. He's still 20 feet away.
Prestidigitate myself.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start not sprinting, but a brisk pace, kind of just up the trail.
Okay.
Fuck
Follow him up the trail.
You hear a couple ew as you guys move up the trail, and a couple of these shots miss Iris by just a few feet. One of the back pirates gets hit kind of in the shoulder, and he kind of, as you guys seem to get clear of this firing range, he kind of looks at you and looks at his shoulder like, could you?
Yeah. I'll keep
Okay.
prestidigitating us.
The howls slowly fade behind you. It quiets. You suspect maybe you're out of whatever they call a territory, or you're just not that much fun anymore because you went away. Jungle gets a little darker. You've been traipsing in here for almost 2 hours now. When Fenrir, some animal instinct of your barbarian class, the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. Something's watching. Something's hunting you. You all of a sudden, you know it. And next to you, the pirate thug kind of just slowly nods his head like he heard what you were thinking. And he points straight up ahead. And what at first you thought was a log or something crashed across the road, you realize is the barrel of a snake. From the ground to the top of its back is almost 4 feet high. It stretches all the way across this game trail from one side of the road to the other. You can't see either end of it. It's about 150 feet away, give or take. And just laying there, it seems like there's a small opening in the canopy, and that beam of sun seems to be warming at least a large spot on this massive snake.
Well, I say we have 2 options here. One is we go in there and we try to cut the damn thing in half and kill it.
Okay.
Hope we don't die.
One of the pirates gulps audibly.
The only other option I see is we try to sneak under, over, or some other alternative and get over this thing, because if it's that big, we have no idea which end in the head. Well, I guess we look at the pattern of scales and see which way it's going.
Oh, you're a herpetologist in this campaign? Cool.
I mean, I'm sure we have a basic knowledge of snakes, right?
Basic, yeah.
We're looking at the scale pattern, like knowing which way the scales go. From this distance, can we tell which way? Like, can we tell? No.
Not at this distance, no. You can see the pattern in its physical pattern, but not
The
individual
color.
scales. Yeah. As you're looking at it, thinking about this, it dawns on you that every once in a while, some of those scales glint in the sunlight, kind of like down on the beach. Maybe some of them are metallic.
Son of a bitch.
Hi, Iris. Bye, Iris. Door not quite closed all the way.
Oh, should I?
That's gotcha. Don't worry about the cat. So carry on.
Let me see.
One of the pirates is looking at the club in his hand and then at the snake. And he's looking at the club. And he's looking at the snake.
Yeah, obviously the club's not going to do us much good. Who's the stealthiest out of the 6 of us?
From moving with these 3 thugs, it's not them.
Boy, me.
Are you?
Here. I've got a +1 to my stealth, so that's it.
Definitely me.
Are you proficient in stealth?
I am expert in stealth.
Oh, well, there you go.
Wait, how do you know if you're expert in something?
It's basically double proficiency.
Skill I have is expertise, and I chose stealth as one of my 2 expertise talents.
Oh,
It's a bard thing.
so if I have double, like if I had proficiency in something already and I got it from something else, that's basically expert.
Some stuff it will allow you to have an expertise in, yes.
Well, I'll have to double check that then, because I think I might have had things that double. All right. Well, do you want to sneak up there a little bit and maybe see which way this sucker's facing?
Why not? What's the worst that can happen, I say?
Either way, it should make a good story, right? Or a good
Fine.
song.
So, yeah. Okay. I will stealthily sneak up ahead and see if I can figure out which way his head is.
How close do you want to try to get? Or do you want to let your perception determine, I'm going to get close enough to tell which way?
I'm gonna let my perception determine.
Roll me a perception check then.
My tiny ass numbers on here.
And this is active, not passive. I know your passive is 10, but you're actively looking, so.
24.
So you're still a good 50 or so. You're only about halfway to it, 50, 60 feet away from it. And you realize, looking at just the way the diamond patterns and stuff on this thing are, its head is to the left, its tail is to the right. And it's definitely mechanized. There are some of the scales are definitely different types of metal. There are other parts of it that you see one of the belly plates underneath is, again, you can kind of like see through it and see mechanisms moving in there, slowly churning like clockworks.
Okay. Can I reason out how to maybe stick something in the gears to keep it from working?
The thought goes through your head to jamming something in there, and then on the scale of how large this thing is, you're more concerned it to be a thorn in its paw type thing, as opposed to truly incapacitating it per se. It'd piss it off, but you question whether it would really impact the grander function of this creature.
Okay.
You're gonna give it a cramp. As you're watching, you see it slowly undulate and move forward about 5 feet and stop again. Seems like maybe it's going to worm a slightly different part of its body in that patch of sunlight.
Doesn't seem to be paying any attention to us.
Doesn't seem to be paying attention to anything except that warm patch of sunlight.
All right, I'm gonna go back down and relay that.
Cool.
Let's keep going.
Well, how are we gonna get past it without touching it first? We either gotta figure out a way over, under, or around it.
Over, under, around, or through.
Yeah, or through. I don't see the through being a very viable option. So
You're a barbarian. Through is always an option. Often the best one, but it's always an option.
I think we should just go. I mean,
you want to try to climb over this son of a bitch?
well, we could go around it.
We could, yeah. I think that's the safer bet.
You do know now which end has the bitey bits in it.
The what?
The bitey bits. The bits of it that actually bite you.
yeah.
You know which
Yeah.
end of that snake it is now.
Yeah, let's try to go around.
You go for a bushwhack.
Yep.
The couple of the pirates reach into their belts and pull out good healthy long knives. They're not quite machetes, but you don't really need a full machete in here. It's just an occasional prod or something is in their way. They slowly start with some delicacy cutting around towards the tail end of this snake. You guys go about 20 feet in. One of the pirates takes a quick look, shakes his head. They keep cutting. About 40 feet in, goes and takes another peek, shakes his head. They keep cutting. This goes on and on. Almost 200 feet off the path. Finally, he signals. He starts cutting towards the center of the island again. After about 50 or 60 more feet of cutting, he comes across a section of the foliage that is just pancaked. Every limb, every branch, it's all plastered to the ground. And frankly, it looks like something stomped the living daylights out of it. You realize the sheer bulk of this beast has macerated the foliage under it as it slithered past, grinding it to a soft paste almost. You guys move past. As you do, you can hear the slithering of the beast off to the left. But it doesn't move very far. And seems like maybe it's warming another patch of its skin. But you pass by. The pirates slowly start cutting their way back towards the game trail.
It's not like super thick, hard to move through, is it?
It's so. I mean, the cutting of foliage is helping immensely to get the group through, but one person could move okay, but you're limited in sight distance more than anything.
I almost feel like maybe we should stay off the beaten path for a few. This thing is obviously massive. We don't know how far up ahead its head could have been stretched and wrapped back around, and maybe its other half is sitting in the pathway. I don't know. I feel like we should stay off that path for a bit.
Where its head was, right?
You know which side of the path its head was on? What Fenrir's saying is we don't know if it went and then curled around and...
Because snakes like to curl. They don't just go in a straight line. I'm just worried that we're going to run into the front end of this thing and it's going to turn into a bad day.
Sure. Well,
so the pirates go ahead and nod and start heading more towards the center of the island with their cutting. as you guys work your way through the dense foliage, it's a little slower because they do have to do some cutting. But it's not too much longer when the reaches out with his blade and cuts a large leaf out of his way, and it falls, and you realize what's in front of you is a moss covered wall. You can see the stones, they're mortared together, fairly well made, but the top of it's been completely demolished and broken off. Down at your feet, you notice some rubble. You might have made it to the city already, or at least some of the outbuildings.
Looks like we made it. I'm gonna take a look and see. Can we? Do I notice like a way, like a corner around the building, or like a way to?
With a little investigation, you realize it's not the biggest building in the world. You can go around either side of it. So one of the pirates decides he's just going to go left and starts clearing a pathway around it.
I'm gonna take a right and see if I
Okay.
can maybe if there's a door or something.
It seems like you're on the back of a stone box as you work your way around the corner some. You do find an opening, the remains of a rather dry rotted door hanging on some falling apart hinges, and vines and stuff crawling in and out of everywhere. Fair amount of bugs crawling here and there as you disturb things. Again, part critter, part machine. It seems like everything on this island's a little bit assimilated, to borrow the word from Star Trek.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and how big is the door? Is it like a full-on door opening, or is it?
It's a full, a man door.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
Not an ogre door.
Not
You
rip
reach
it off
open.
hinges, but
When you reach up and touch it, and just the contact, the wood itself goes and crumbles somewhat. And the only thing holding it together at this point is a menagerie of thin vines that have just intergrown. The wood of the door is just pulverized. It's
Okay.
dilapidated.
So I'm gonna try to clear myself enough of a path to make like go in and take a look
Careful, or are you gonna rip it off?
carefully.
Okay. Takes you a good couple minutes. The Iris and the pirates, and I presume Ver, are basically watching you try to get through this doorway for a half a minute. But finally, with a little help from a couple knives and whatnot, you and two of the pirates managed to get the door cleared of just this tangle. Inside's relatively dark. It looks like it used to be a storeroom. There's empty baskets that have all been obviously chewed on. Nothing in them. There's sacks that have obviously been torn apart. It's like maybe it was some sort of cellar or some nature for the city. Size of an average garage, maybe 1-car garage.
All right, well, I won't spend too much time. Let's move on to the next.
Are you going building to building and checking them all?
No, we'll head in like more towards the center where the college would have been.
You guys start working your way in, and you're about 7 or 8 rows of buildings in, or 7 or 8 buildings worth of in, when a thunderous explosion rocks, at least the sound of one, rocks through the jungle. You hear birds and other wildlife scream in panic and fly and run. And a fair distance ahead of you, you see a plume of smoke, billowing white, climbing into the clouds from what looks like about the middle of the city, if the map you've got gives any true indication of how big this place is.
I'm gonna stay put for a couple minutes and listen and just see if another one happens.
You guys are sitting still. Iris zaps another something flying by.
Iris, could you stop that for a minute?
Her finger's still up pointing, but she looks at you and lowers it back down. Everything goes quiet except for the wildlife. A few things come, a fair bit of like flying critters come flying by. What looks like a wild pig crossed with an alarm clock comes running by. Yeah.
Did it just have a
something's-
digital 12 flashing on it?
Exactly. Exactly. I said a clock, not a VCR.
Oh, whoops. I was thinking digital.
Right. Slowly things calm back down. Takes about 5 minutes. The plume of smoke slowly wisps away. A small trail just continues, like maybe something's on fire, but a whole lot less than what the boom was.
But no more boom.
No more boom. One big boom.
I'm gonna go ahead and start towards the school again then.
Yep.
It's pretty much on par with heading for that smoke. You have to switch roads every once in a while because after 40 years, there's a few streets that have been completely overtaken by trees. They grew in the cracks of the street and managed to basically blockade the road. But you find a path through, and as you're coming closer and closer, with the return of the birds and the calmness of the city, you don't necessarily hear the wing beats until it's almost right on top of you. And it sails just above the tops of the trees and the buildings through this area is what looks to be probably the most mechanical thing you've seen here. For about 85% of this massive owl is metallic. A few bits, at least one of its eyes is fleshy. Its beak seems to be legit. Part of its wing still has real feathers on it. But most of this one's mechanical, and like its predecessor, its namesake, almost silent. But this thing's got a wingspan of about 50 feet. And it just ghosts over top of you guys towards the center of town. Slowly banks to the left as it gets close to the smoke plume and starts circling the plume, just floating in a fairly large circle. It's probably circling 40 feet out from the center of this explosion. You guys look like you're probably a couple 100 feet from there still. Not quite able to see it because of obscuring, except for you can see a bit of a dome sticking up just behind the smoke plume. Seems to be a taller building. It's even taller than the trees that are trying to grow in the road. Seems like the academy had a large dome structure in it somewhere.
As we start getting closer, I want to start like kind of trying to stick more towards like the building walls and just kind of keep covered more.
Go ahead and roll me a stealth check. I'll roll for the pirates.
That would be a that'd be a 10.
You guys are rolling along. And of all things, Iris's robes, her lower skirts of her outfit, snag up on this thorned plant. And she squeaks a little bit and blasts this plant with both hands and just incinerates it. But it's loud, it's bright, it's a statement. Ah! And then she stops and looks around like, did I do that? Moment, and just holds there.
Yeah, I'm gonna freeze as well, like stop and just kind of like look around and listen.
Seems like it startled a couple birds that were nesting right up on top of the building you guys are next to, but for the most part, not too big a deal. Doesn't seem like anything come crashing after you for it. So
Start slowly continuing forward again.
So the owl's circling at about 40 feet around this plume of smoke. You guys get to about 80 feet out before you can really start getting a look at the old academy building. What you notice most distinctly is it's not overgrown. The overgrown part seems to have reached a certain boundary, and you guys are getting right up next to it, but it just quits. Everything with past this boundary line seems to be untouched by overgrowth. Unplush, the vegetation isn't overtaking anything. The wooden doors seem to be intact. Well, most of them, I should say. For looking through these last couple rows of buildings, you see where the smoke is finally billowing from, and it's a doorway. A big double doorway. The doors themselves have been blown out into the courtyard. One of them still smoldering. It's putting up its own little wisp of smoke, but most of the smoke's coming from inside this large domed structure. If it was religious, I'd call it a cathedral, but it's not that tall and it doesn't have religious icons all over it, but it's big. It's a massive central building for, you figure, the academy, the school.
So we're talking like Tacoma Dome?
Smaller, but yeah.
So more like the Sun Dome in Yakima?
Don't know about Yakima.
It's
Let's
like,
see here.
it's like half the size of the Tacoma Dome.
It's probably a couple 100 feet across.
Okay.
So it's a good sized bubble.
All right. How do I word this? Can I tell what the owl is looking at? Is it looking at the explosion, like what exploded, or is there, do I notice?
If it was a military airplane, I'd say it was staying on station.
Okay.
What it's looking at, it's an owl, hard to tell.
Okay.
Pull out a wand.
Okay, which one?
My wand of magic missile.
Okay.
Okay.
Just me trying to say what I said 5 times.
Okay.
So what's the plan?
Pirate shrugs.
Hey, I just straight ass walk up to the front door.
Okay. You walk through these clean, and we're not talking it's just, there's nothing growing here. There's not a leaf. There's not a pile of poop. There's not a boot print. It's pristine clean.
So you're saying full 80 feet all the way up to the door?
As you get close to the door, you start smelling the burnt wood. You see these wooden doors again. No dry rot, no decay, no, but they've been shattered. They've big monster cracks. One of them, the corner has been blown off of it. And as you glance inside the building, on the floor just inside, you see a 30-foot wide crater with a wisp of smoke rising up and issuing out through the front door. The hole that was where the front door was originally at.
Give a low whistle.
As
Like
I
one
see
of those
owl
oh
has-
damn whistles. What?
I was gonna say, as I see that the owl hasn't swooped down to pick you up, I'll go ahead and start heading out that way too.
Okay. As you're heading across, the last 2 pirate thugs come with you. And one of them just keeps looking up. Every time the owl goes by, he's like, definitely being a little skittish. But you guys congregate basically where these shattered doors are, just out in front of this cathedral type structure. As you've been standing there inside, just in silhouette, there's something moving. It's hard to tell what. It's kind of dark in here despite some windows. Maybe the smoke's obscuring it a little bit even, but There's something moving around in there.
Hmm.
Oh fuck it, we're already this far, and I just start walking into the in towards to go in.
Okay, inside the front door is a 30-foot wide, 15-foot deep crater. Are you going to go down into the crater and back up? Or are you going to try to skirt the edge, which is there's a ledge on either side. Here, we will just go screen share.
We'll skirt the edge.
Well, does it look like is the crater actively can I tell it's hot and on fire and burning, or is it just
There's smoke rising, but you're not quite sure if it's just an ember or two, or if it's. Keep in mind, this thing blew up 5 minutes ago.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, judging by it's just a little bit of a ledge and then it opens up, we'll try to skirt the edge.
Okay. Let's go ahead and park you guys here. Give myself a little elbow room. In other words, move the drugs.
Where's the drugs?
Right out in the open. We're hiding ice cream. Anyway. Okay. Get out of my way. Alrighty then. And we're going to pirate thug 1, 2, and 3. And there's notice. Do you have a preference on which way you want to skirt which edge? I mean, do you
I'll
care?
take the right side.
North, south, east,
South.
west? South?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys work your way inside, and by being inside, it gives your eyes a chance to adjust to the internal light in here. And you start seeing long workbenches, tables. They seem to be made out of solid glass or some sort of crystal, for the countertops themselves are mostly see-through, light blue edges from the light reflecting through. A large round table with what looks like a magical fire pit glowing in the middle of it casts a dim light. Each of these tables is covered with numerous experiments, it seems. Bits and baubles. Nothing looks done. It all seems to be half completed. You finally notice, standing at one of the tables, a pointy hat wearing gentleman with his back turned to you. I say gentleman because you can tell he has a quite massive beard hanging down in front of him. Bit of robes. His back is turned to you. Seems to be fidgeting with something on the table.
Back is turned to which one of us?
Basically both of you, because he's looking mostly that way.
Okay.
I'm gonna be an asshole here, and I'm gonna call out, "Hello, is everybody okay here?"
Doesn't seem to get a response.
And at that, I'll loudly, hello.
As you bellow across the room, this gentleman turns and looks at you.
Is everything okay here?
Gives you a big thumbs up, turns back around to his table.
I will keep walking in.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll work my way over towards the fire.
Okay.
Like maybe park it, yeah, right there.
I have Irish just standing in the door.
Get this glass workbench next to me.
Seems to be vials of liquid, little trays that have crystals in them. One of them's got a funky looking box on it, but the lid's closed. Another one seems to have a partially dissected animal on it. And next to that, there seem to be like gears and cogs and tweezers and pliers and screwdrivers. There's another one that looks like it has a freshly killed snake laid out on the table. Just weird.
Seem like maybe this person's the one responsible for all the mechanical animals.
As that thought runs through your mind, you look it over towards him, and in profile, you can see he seems to be tinkering on a bunny rabbit, would be the best term I can give you. This rabbit is perched up on its hind legs, and its front ones are, its ears are sitting there, like it's looking around, but it's holding perfectly still. And he's got the front of it completely opened autopsy style. The ribs are splayed, and he seems to be reaching inside and removing. Well, you're not quite sure what he's pulling out. And then he reaches over on his table and picks something else up, and he reaches in, and then he stands up, sets his tools down, and kind of dusts his hands like, ah.
Is your name Melkor by chance?
Are you screaming that really loud too?
I mean, not as loudly because I'm closer, but loud enough to try to get his attention.
He turns back towards you. Goes, what?
Melkor?
He taps his ears, and you realize he was in an explosion just a couple minutes ago. His ears are probably ringing something like a bitch.
Hey, Fenrir.
Yeah.
No.
Oh. I'll just put a thumbs up.
I'm gonna walk over next to the guy and just kind of examine the bunny rabbit that he's.
You want to be closer to him, or do you want to just go like around the table?
Oh, closer to him.
Okay.
I'm not being shy about it.
The rabbit looks like it could be any long-eared jackrabbit. And you can tell that its heart's still beating because you can literally see it inside its chest. You see one little fleshy pink lung expand and contract. And on the other side, you see a mesh of wires that look like a fine mesh basket or a pouch that looks just like a lung expand and contract in rhythm together.
Fascinating.
But
I yell at him. It's fascinating.
oh, isn't it though? Well, I'm sorry, where are my manners? Welcome. I haven't had guests in like so long. And it seems as he talks more, his hearing must be coming back because his volume comes way down. So he stops screaming and looks around. Ha, yeah, hi. Welcome. I I guess I'm a little startled because I'm so not used to anybody making it this far.
Why wouldn't they make it this far?
Usually either one of my monkeys eats them, and if not, one of my snakes eats them. That's pretty normal.
Oh. They looked friendly to me.
Well, and that seems to be why you're here. You seem to have gotten along with them nicely. Congratulations. Now, what do you want? He loses a little bit of his jovialness and kind of gets stern.
I'm gonna walk over where the corner of the two tables meets.
Inside or outside?
Inside. I'll stay.
Inside.
Yep.
Okay.
Now I'm just gonna kind of lean on the table a little bit and
Pirates move up just a little bit more.
just watch.
I was under the understanding that this is a magic school.
It was long time ago. Yep.
So you don't do that anymore.
Well, I guess you could say what I do is magic because there's a little spark involved.
It looks magic to me.
It's my own personal blend. I like to take the arcane and the mundane and put it in the Great Dane.
It's the whole island filled with your creatures.
A lot of failed experiments out there, a lot of learning curves. Unfortunately, some of them don't make it very long. Others do really well, and sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. Success and failure tend to be real, well, hard to quantify with this. It's being so new and all.
I was just going to ask how you would classify a failure because it seems to me the ones living out there wouldn't be a failure at all.
He steps to the one, moves just a little to the left and pulls back a cloth. And the answer to your question lies there on the table. For it, you're pretty sure it's supposed to be like an iguana, but what is here is just a grotesque monstrosity of parts that never seem to, but somehow the iguana is still alive. And you can tell it's in misery. It's to breathe is raspy and deep and wet. I'm pretty sure it's got like bronchitis or something. But all he's done about it is just laid a cloth over it. This is one of my failures that I've yet to clean up.
Why do you allow it to live so tortured?
All information is good information. If I've learned something from it, it's worth it.
I see.
And he lays the cloth back down.
I'm not quite sure you'd feel the same if it was you laying there.
He just shrugs.
Look at Fenrir. Sometimes a scientific mind is just a scientific mind.
Behind you, this pirate seems to have stepped to the edge of the table, and suddenly you hear him cry out in pain as he's reached up and touched whatever this burning, flickering substance is. And as you watch, his left arm starts to just dissolve into dust past his wrist up to his elbow until it gets up to his shoulder and starts invading his chest and his torso, and he literally collapses under his own weight and dissolves into little more than a club, some clothes, and dust. Just gone.
Did Tess really give us a bunch of dudes that don't know to not touch shit?
Fenrir complains out loud.
Right? Note to my companions, don't touch anything.
The other pirate that's standing over here has got his like hands behind his back at this point. Like, I'm good.
Maybe you should go way back outside.
He looks at you and he looks at Iris and he looks at you and nods and heads back out the door.
Look back at the wizard dude and I'm like, I am so sorry.
Oh, I'm not. I learned a lot from that. Thank you.
Okay.
Did you not know what it did before?
I did, information's information. I was pretty sure that's what it did to everything, but now I'm a little smarter.
You always have to run multiple experimentations.
Eh. And as long as you write down the results, it's science.
Well, you might want to write that down really quick then.
Oh, I'll remember. I remember everything. And he taps the side of his head and it goes clunk, clunk, almost like an empty bucket. Because indeed, half of his face is mechanical. One of his eyes is mechanical. He's not only the mad scientist, but he's one of his best customers, it seems.
Right.
Huh. Alrighty.
Do you mind if I continue to look around your workshop here?
Just don't, well, maybe it goes without saying, but you might not want to touch.
Yeah,
That's
we're not
fair.
quite as that one.
So is that your
So-
plan?
I will kind of walk around and look at things and work my way over towards Fenrir.
Okay. The wizard guy goes back to fiddling. Where would you guys like to rendezvous before I start?
Good question. Is that a person up on the north side of the map?
It looks like a suit of armor standing over there.
Okay.
I'm gonna say to the south of the crater.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
It's Fenrir.
All that came through was the name.
Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, quietly, I'm gonna say. I mean, I think this is that Melkor guy.
I
But
would agree, but you probably don't want to go throwing his name out like that.
yeah, you're probably right.
Um,
I don't know what do you what are we? I mean, we were here to come and check shit out. I mean, what else do we need to do right now?
well, we either go back and tell Tess what we've found, or we stay here a little longer and see if we can learn more information first.
I mean, he seems pretty open to letting us stick around for now. I don't see a problem with taking advantage of that. Let's pick his brain.
Do we maybe we should have Tess and the two guards, or not Tess, but Iris and the two guards stay outside?
I mean, I think it would be safe for them to come in and just chill somewhere and obviously not touch anything.
Let's
But
go
that way-
ask Iris what she wants to do.
Yeah, that
Fill her
works.
in.
You guys step out there, give them a quick rundown. The remaining two pirates are staring into the jungle, nervously holding their clubs. Iris is just randomly zapping stuff as it flies by. Boop. Boop. You give her a quick rundown. She goes, "Oh, I'm probably fine right here, Zap. Because, I got this nice sturdy wall behind me at Zap. As long as I'm paying attention, I don't seem to have any issues. Well, and she physically stomps on one that's crawling across the ground.
Okay. So I will go back in.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the north again and I want to examine the suit of armor.
Alrighty. Fenrir?
um, I'm just gonna. Oh man, it's tough. I'm gonna go stand back in the little corner table nook and kind of just watch him.
there, as you're examining this suit of armor, roll me a perception check. See what you find.
Perception again. 18.
As you're standing there, you realize you can hear a low hum. Maybe like a motor almost humming along. You realize it's coming from this suit of armor. About the time that dawns on you, that which it calls a head, which looks more like a metallic brick, slowly turns, and a pair of silver eyes glow through the metal and looks straight back at you.
Well, hello. It's very nice to meet you, and I curtsy at it.
Okay, no response from that.
Would I recognize what it is due to my family?
Nah, this is something outside your scope.
Okay.
You've heard of things called Warforged, but this doesn't look anything like that. But maybe
it
a third
Doesn't
cousin
really
twice
look like an
removed.
iron golem either.
Oh Lord, no! This thing's way more compact. First of all, a
Okay.
lot finer detail. Maybe some hybrid between the two if you were to, squish them together.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to the wizard.
Okay.
So I see that you've made a lot of self-modifications. Were they very difficult?
Well, the difficult part was perfecting each system before I integrated it personally. As you can imagine, being on an island like this, my subjects are hard to come by. But they do show up, so I work with what I got.
Okay. What does your eye allow you to see differently than normal?
I mostly thermal, but it's got a feature in it that allows me to see invisibility, which is really handy, especially when, well, people show up. Sometimes they're not nice like you. Sometimes they're mean. They come in here and they try to hurt me. And that's always a disappointment. But I do like the raw materials to work with. It's a silver lining, I guess. As he removes the spleen from this bunny rabbit and sets it on the table next to him. This whole time, he's still just working and talking.
How much of an animal can you remove and still have it function? Is there anything you can't remove?
Well, the brain is the hardest component. Trying to replicate one of those in anything but, well, gray matter, as it were. It's something I haven't quite harnessed yet. And kidneys, some reason, but pretty much everything else. I'm trying to find a happy balance between, full automaton seems so, I guess for lack of better terms, cold. So I'm trying to retain the identity of the original host without all the flaws that come with being biological.
I see. Do they still eat like normal?
Depending on how much of the creature needs replaced, yeah. The more mechanical it is, the less food, if you want to use that term, it needs. It does still use energy, sometimes solar, sometimes hydro. Depends on the creature.
So you say when the creature needs, so you're only doing this to animals that need help?
Well, in my opinion, they all need help. They're inferior creations. I'm just upgrading them.
But you, do you still eat like normal?
Yes, but very little anymore. So much of me has been replaced. I only eat every other day, and it's little more than a handful of nutrients. Uh, Crazy as it sounds, is part of what is my meal is soil because I need the micronutrients not only for my biological but my mechanical portions also. Well, utilize it. Doesn't taste very good, but that's okay.
Hmm.
Try some EVOO next time.
Is that like 30 weight?
Extra virgin olive oil.
Oh.
My next question was going to be if you need to oil yourself.
No, it's with that's one of the first systems I managed to work out. It doesn't take much biological material to make enough lubrication to keep an entire system like mine up and running. So I about once a week or so, a good seagull size amount, and there's plenty of those around here. So
Again, that's very fascinating.
if you'd like to learn more, you're welcome to stay here. The school is technically still open. I could theoretically be an instructor, I guess. And he kind of scratches the biological side of his head with his mechanical hand, like he's
What
pondering it.
What exactly could you teach us?
Well, self transformation would be a huge portion of it. Biology, simple mechanics, small parts crafting, and manufacturing of gears, springs, and other objects like that. And
I'm definitely interested in at least staying a few days to learn more, if that's okay with you.
um, I, huh, just a few days, huh? I was hoping for a little more commitment than that if I was going to teach you.
If it's what really interests me, I'm not sure yet. It is very fascinating, though.
Seems to really be pondering whether it's worth the distraction, or he's pondering something pretty heavy.
Happy to just sit and watch you. You don't have to, I don't want to take away from your current work.
As you comment to that, he seems to relax a little bit and sink back into the work of it. And from his point of view, the conversation seems to have come to an end. He's more than happy to just dive back into his work.
Do you point me perhaps to the rooms?
He turns and looks at you. Rooms? Rooms of what?
For the students?
For us to sleep?
Oh, if you're gonna, right, right. And he gestures kind of to the north side. He goes, "There's still a few dorm rooms over that way that haven't been overgrown. My magic manages to keep the overgrowth away for now. So you'll be safe."
Is there anything here worthwhile for us to like check out? You know, like touristy stuff, or
Well, I guess if you like overgrown ruins,
is there anything cool we might find?
me,
Well, we've already found you.
I think we'll do a little exploring and we'll be back to watch you shortly.
I can't, you know, I can't guarantee your safety out there. You know how things are in the wild.
Oh, I very much do know.
Okay, well, I'm back at it. And he dives back into, at this point, he picks up a mechanical replica of a spleen and starts reattaching it to inside this bunny rabbit. And it freaks you out a little bit because as he's doing it, the bunny blinks.
So we go back outside, Finrear?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. You're back outside.
I definitely think we need to go talk to Tess.
You want to explore more of the ruins first?
I mean, if we're planning on staying a couple days, I think we'll have plenty of time to explore. But I don't think we should stay too long and without relaying back to Tess that we're alive and we actually found what I thought we might be coming to find.
Okay. Yeah.
I can
okay.
always.
Let's make our, well, part of me wants to say let's just send the pirates back to Tess, but I don't have faith they'd survive that run without us. So
No, I don't think so. That's why I'm thinking maybe I'll just follow the path we made through the trees back, and then. I mean, I'm in decent shape. I can run for a while. I think I'll be all right. So
running, taking the path that you guys cut through the woods and running, you could hit the beach in probably 90 minutes. But that's running. If you were to jog, it'd be closer to 2.5 hours. And if you were to walk, it'd be closer to 3.
I'll jog.
Okay. I need you to make me 4 D6 rolls.
3, 1, 2, 3.
So you get back to where the cutting, and you're heading along, and you come across that skid mark where the snake had slithered through before. And you take a half a second and glance around, and you take one step out into the clearing, and you hear a loud rustling noise. Roll initiative.
Fuck. Let's see. Initiative's dexterity, right?
Yep.
17.
You step forward. Your angle of vision through this skid mark changes just enough. You see a massive tongue go flicker, 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 flicker about 15 feet away from you. Out of what looked like just shrubs, till you realize it's the green mottled nose of this snake. And you could stand up in its mouth if its mouth was open. And its tongue goes flicker, flicker, flicker again. And you see one of its eyes roll around and gaze right at you. What do you want to do?
I am gonna turn around and I am gonna run as fast as I fucking can back to the group.
Dex check.
Oh, you motherfucker. That'd be a 4.
You turn and step back towards the cut path, and you feel this thing's nose slam you in the lower back, just bend you backwards over its snout. Its mouth was closed, but it just pile drives you, and you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Jesus.
The plus side is you're thrown down this thin, narrow path that you cut through, which is smaller than the snake itself, so it's actually struggling to try to get to you again. I need you to make me a dexterity check to see if you keep your feet after getting pummeled.
That's much better. That's 18.
You carry the momentum of this slam, and you manage to get your feet and stumble just a little bit and are at a dead run back towards the school. But behind you, you can hear that sucker thrashing through.
Oh, Jesus.
He seems to have warmed up. He's got a little spunk in him this time. And he's chasing you hard.
All right. Once I start getting close, I'm just gonna start yelling, "Snake!"
You hear it real well, clattering through the woods and a voice bellowing, "Snake!"
Oh, so when I get to the building and I go around the corner, I'm gonna dive into the door and like dive into the building and hide.
Which building are we talking about?
That first building that I tried to explore, and it was like the cellar type deal.
Okay. Cool. Go ahead and we'll say you're pretty much there. Roll me a stealth check for this hide.
Uh, 13.
You dive through the doorway just as the snout slams into the door frame itself. You guys tied on your perception and stealth checks. So you're in the building, but the door's too small for this thing's head to get in. So it's ramming into the opening, trying to, and it apparently it thinks you're delicious. And you've got its attention. But now
Okay.
you're in a building with one entrance and one exit.
Okay, so the next time that it tries to slam its nose into the doorway, I'm gonna take my axe. I'm gonna ready my axe, and then I'm gonna like swing up and try to like catch it under the chin.
All right.
Come on, baby. Oh hell yeah! That's a 24.
Its snout slams in. Your axe catches it just under the chin
Man,
and
that's
barely scratches it.
oh fuck me.
Go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay. Let's see. That's not the right one. 8. Yeah, 8 damage.
Yeah. It loosens the scale maybe. It seems pretty negligible, but the snake pulls back a little bit. And then you see its head disappear from the doorway briefly. And you hear a lot more rustling. And then you see one of the coils of the snake block the door. Then you see another coil of it pile on top of that. And you realize it's encircling the building with its body.
Oh shit.
Hey, Ver, you heard snake and a lot of screaming, and now you're hearing banging and clattering over that away.
Go look.
You're going to go take a peek. You see this 4-foot in diameter, probably a couple 100-foot long snake wrapping this building up.
Oh Lord.
I envision you still have your magic missile wand or whatever it was out.
I do.
I'm gonna go ahead and rage, and I'm gonna like mash on this thing,
Cool.
or I'm gonna try to anyway. I'm gonna.
As soon as Vera figures out what she's up to, you're all in.
Okay.
And she casts Fireball. Oh,
Not yet.
yeah, I know.
I am going to throw a grenade at it.
All right.
Ray of Frost.
Okay. Cantrip grenade, just to confirm.
Yep.
Cool.
And I'm going to throw it just a little bit in front of its head,
Okay.
but not in front of the door when it's like on the side of a building. Side
Sure.
of the building.
Yeah, it's wrapping this building up, but it's not like it's high speed. It's just
Rigid beam of blue-white light streaks toward a creature within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, it takes 1d8 cold damage, and its speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn.
so pretty much on the grenades, I'm going to put a range of 30 feet, and then it goes off wherever it lands. So
Okay.
I'll need a ranged attack, basically throw from you.
Teen.
13. Okay. You get a really decent lob, and it lands about 6 inches in front of this thing's nose. And in almost startlement, it flinches and then strikes at whatever motion it just detected and actually swallows your grenade.
Ah.
And then it goes off inside this thing's head. How much damage?
7.
7. We're going to triple that to 21 points of cold damage to the inside of this thing's head and mouth. You see it rear back, thrash its head a little bit, look down at the building itself, and strike like it's striking at a large beast of prey. And its mouth bites into the corner of this building and rips it away. The stone and mortar are just crushed under its weight. Inside the building, parts of it rain in, and you see this corner ripped out of the building. Frost-covered head of a snake seems to be partially blinded by some of the ice, but just tears the corner of this building completely away. So you wanted to rage?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and rage still. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, I'm mad.
Rage up.
Okay, so basically I can see outside now, correct?
There's a hole up in the corner of the room. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not actually like how much is it exposed, I guess, for me?
There's about 5 foot of wall before you get to an opening. And
Okay.
then like if you cut the corner off a box at a funky angle, so you got a pyramid when you were done, it kind of took the corner out of the room.
Okay, so I don't have like a huge opening to.
You could scamper through it if you were to crawl through, but you're not going to walk through like it's a door.
Okay.
Unless you're really good at jumping.
Yeah, so I'm gonna rage, and I'm gonna take just a massive swing at the snake's side that's the wrapped around the door.
In the door?
Yeah, in the doorway. 17.
Hits.
Okay. For 11 damage. Or no, sorry. Plus 2, 13. Which for mine, because we did the blind rage, I got a bonus to strength, didn't I, for that?
I would have to go look it all back up.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to find the text earlier, but I couldn't find them, so I couldn't remember what we agreed on that.
We'll get it worked out. Let's say for now you do 20 points of damage and call it a day.
Okay, so that's solid.
Good solid hit. Because it couldn't react to it any way, shape, or form, your blade actually sinks into this thing. You see certain scales crumple and fold like aluminum foil would, but denser. And you see other ones that bleed and ooze. So you're definitely dealing with some sort of hybrid here, just on a massive scale.
Okay. All right, that'll be my turn.
Ooh. There.
am gonna pull out my lyre
Okay.
and start playing. I don't know, the most annoying dissonant sounds that I can make it make. I'm hoping to scare away the snake.
Like an
Okay.
out of tune
To
guitar.
irritate it into going away.
Roll me an intimidation check. Okay. You only got to beat a
Intimidation.
7.
Well, what are my bonuses? Uh, 9.
You beat a 7. You find the thing recoiling back from you. As it does, you hear the building groan. You hear stuff, you hear walls cracking. Fenrir, you're in the middle of this sound, by the way. And you see part of the bitten open chunk of the wall crumble in and part of the ceiling start to rumble down as this snake is almost thrashing from the pain that it's being caused. But it doesn't seem to be leaving.
That's okay. I'll keep playing it.
Okay. We'll make another saving throw against it and fail most spectacularly. So it is currently for this round, it is wholly preoccupied with trying to figure out what that noise is, but can't seem to figure it out. So it's effectively action locked, for lack of better terms, but its thrashing is taking its toll on the building that Fenrir is in. The building seems to be slowly coming apart at the seams. Hey, Fenrir, what do you want to do? The snake's a little preoccupied.
I'm gonna smack it right in the same spot.
We're just chopping wood.
I'm hoping to just hack straight through this fucker.
Give me this one at advantage because you've already compromised its armor.
23.
Your blade sinks deep.
Not according to that damage, it doesn't.
Trust me. Give me your numbers.
Let's see. 10 damage.
Again, you do basically 20 because with its armor compromised, you get a nice clean, and it's right there. I mean, there's a little wiggling, but this is Barbarian 101. Get pissed, chop shit up. You're good at this. And your blade sinks. The crescent part of your blade dives deep into its body and basically disappears, and you pull it back. And there's a chunk of something hooked on the back hook. And as you pull it out, it stretches and then pops, like rupturing like a tendon or something major in there. The blood starts flowing heavy. Things, damn, you're kind of liking this. You're a little splattered at this point from the cast off, and it's warm. It's
I'm gonna
visceral.
fingers in it and just like run it across my face.
You don't need to. You're just kind of in it.
And better.
So from inside the building there, you hear not quite laughter, but mirth. Just ha, 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 ha. You've heard this before. You're pretty sure yeah. Oh shit.
Keep my music going.
Okay. God, it is really not doing well with this. I rolled a 4 that time. Yeah, it's really, its head smashes down onto the roof of the building a couple times and I need Fenrir to make me a dexterity saving throw for falling debris.
Uh, 9.
Okay. You take 2 points of damage as falling debris hits you, and you're in an enraged state, so you only take 2 points. But a couple rocks clip you. Part of the ceiling starts coming unglued. You hear a couple of the timbers holding the roof up crack. This building's not doing real well. Right about then, there, you hear yelling from coming from school area. And you glance over and you see Melkor in his mechanical, he's robed, his hat, running. Don't hurt my baby. And his left hand is up and it's covered in bright green energy, just charging it.
Scare it away.
Roll me a persuasion.
Oh, we might be in trouble.
What rage is good for?
Three.
23. His hand slowly lowers a little, but he's still running. His hand lowers and the glow fades. He goes, just stop. And he whistles. And even over the playing of your music, this whistle pierces through. And the beast's frost-covered head whips around, little bits of ice flecking off, looks straight at Melkor, and then calms. And slowly starts unwinding its way from around the building.
We stop playing that song and start playing my song for Fenrir calming him.
Okay.
So my tune morphs.
Okay. Roll me a performance check.
Oh boy.
11.
The tune morphs and it sets the snake off again.
Oh my god, okay, I stop.
It twitches and it flinches and it hisses and turns and rears, and you stop and it's just poised there staring at you, and you hear the whistle again and its head turns. Hey Fenrir, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna take a swing.
Of course you are.
Oh, that's a nat 1. Holy shit. I slip in the blood.
You take a moment and lay down in the blood and roll in it. No joke. You're like, oh yeah, baby. Kind of mud and blood all at once. That's the ticket. You totally end up, the whole idea of attacking, you went, ooh, blood.
Oh shit. All right. Yep.
Slowly the snake unwraps one of its 3 coils from around the building, sliding towards Melkor, who is now holding his hands out like a lover waiting for an embrace. And the snake's working its way that way. Hey Bear, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna stand there and watch.
Okay. Snake just keeps on slithering. Hey Fenrir, your snake seems to be leaving. You notice this. What do you want to do?
Well, that's gonna make me mad because it doesn't want to play anymore, and I'm gonna take a swing at it.
Ain't that the truth? I do need you, because you haven't been attacked this round. I do need you to decide to make a let's see if we can survive this. And I'm trying to remember, I think it's an intelligence check.
Yeah, that's
To
what
snap-
I think that's what I'm doing.
It was either int or whiz, so either way, it's the same stat, I think.
Same for me.
So
19.
how much?
Or 19.
19. This blood's real comfy. Hitting that snake sounds cool, but oh god, this feels
Nice and warm and
and it's getting in all the nooks and crannies now. It's just really
So I guess I don't attack Sneaky.
one more coil of the snake. You're down to 1 coil around the building, and the building is no longer collapsing. At this point, the head of the snake reaches Melkor, and it's just nuzzling up against him like a puppy, slowly nuzzling. There, you can see a pretty good gash in the side of this snake that's openly bleeding. One more coil around the building. What do you want to do?
I can see that it's actively bleeding.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
It's not currently attacking Fenrir.
correct.
I'm gonna let it go.
Okay. Hey Fenrir.
Yeah.
You enjoying your bloodbath?
I am still thoroughly enjoying my bloodbath.
Okay. You're like digging into it. You're just churning up, sloshing, rolled over a couple times. At this point, your weapon's laying on the ground next to you. Just kind of, this is too good. You can't,
Like being Bob.
can't quit it. This is therapeutic for you. Roll me another wisdom check to see if you maintain your rage.
Nat 20.
Okay. As the contentness and the tranquility of this mud sludge goop, it's starting to cool down a little bit, so it's losing a little bit of its appeal. But what it has successfully done has calmed you. You take a couple deep breaths and just kind of lean back into it, recognizing that the threat has passed.
I'll sit up and grab my axe and just kind of sit there waiting for it to finish uncoiling the building.
Like right after you're done with a shower and you're just drip drying.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, Melkor seems to whistle a series of pitch noises, and the snake turns and slowly crawls away. As it does, you see a small floating orb drift out of the school towards Melkor. As it gets closer, it reaches where the snake's wound is and flies past it slowly. And a shimmer of light reflects off this orb onto the snake, and you can see the flesh knit and close, and a scar develops. And then the orb slowly flies back towards the school and disappears inside.
I guess
I would like to pay attention to Malcor's whistles.
Okay. Roll me a perception check. They're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Digging it. They're kind of, you might even be able to work that into a tune. That it's kind of got a decent beat to it, but yeah.
Sure. Not what I was hoping for, but cool.
Finally, this beast slithers off and disappears into the jungle, and things grow quiet again. You still sitting in your mud bath?
No, now that the entrance is open and clear, I'm gonna go ahead and stand up and walk out. Well, I'm gonna poke my head out first and kind of look.
You poke your head out, and the first thing you see is across the street, Vare. And she's looking down the road a little ways, but you can't tell what she's looking towards. Vare, you
head to
see a very blood-smeared head pop out of the building. It's Fenrir, and he had prom night at Carrie's prom night. Yeah.
I prestidigitate.
10 feet away. You're further away than that.
I'm heading.
You're gonna go over to her.
Yeah.
As you step out of the building, you enter the road, and Malcor goes, "What the fuck?"
And I prestidigitate him.
Takes a couple applications. He's a big boy. By the time you're done being cleaned up, Malcor has walked up pretty much right to your face, Fenrir. He goes, "How dare you?" How dare you harm my baby? Uncalled for and unnecessary.
To be fair, I don't remember even doing it.
Yeah, likely story. Roll me a persuasion check.
15.
So close. So close. No good though. He's just shaking his head like, yeah, But I think you should get off my island. And he turns and walks away. He's about 30 feet away. He said, turns and hollers, out now. I can always call it back. And he turns and walks away even more.
We'll start. At least I'll start walking back towards the building, like the trail and stuff.
Walk back towards the school.
Okay. You head back towards the school. You come into sight of Iris and the two sailors standing outside the door of the cathedral. You see Malcor point at them and point back down the trail and yell, "Get out!"
Oops.
Walk over to Iris and tell him, I think you guys should go back to the ship and wait for me.
They don't argue. They catch up with Fenrir pretty quick. What are you doing?
Back to the school.
Well, yeah, you were at the school when you told them to leave. So you're like,
Inside.
okay. As you step inside, Melkor's leaning up against the inside of the door jamb, about 10 feet away. Looks at you, he goes, "You don't take a hint, do you?"
Me? No. They're leaving though.
So what you're telling me is you're the stupid one in this group.
I'm the one that was trying to keep the snake alive.
Sure seemed like you were just antagonizing it from where I was at.
Well, I didn't want it to kill my stupid friend. I didn't want to hurt it either.
I guess I can kind of appreciate that viewpoint. I guess. And he slowly walks back over and seems to immerse himself in his bunny rabbit again. You're not coming
Whoppers
through.
looking candies.
You're not coming through.
I pull out a couple of Whoppers looking candies and I offer him a couple.
He slowly approaches back from over at his table. He looks at you. Says, "A parting gift. If I take these, will you go away?"
Well, they always call me. I thought they might help you.
Do I not look calm?
No, you don't. Just to be fair.
He takes a deep breath. He slowly picks them out of your hand. How many?
Give him 3.
Okay. Picks the trio up. Sniffs them. Kind of shrugs and pops them in his mouth. He rolls them around, savoring somewhat. They slowly dissolve. And he swallows. You know, that's not half bad. touch of an aftertaste, a touch of bitterness, but not in a bad way. And he's slowly
I
waxing
think it's
on,
just the type of chocolate that they use, honestly.
and he's mid-sentence. The way it wraps across my palate, it definitely has a. And then he just stops, his hands held out, waxing eloquently, and then just slowly tips up against the wall and slides slowly to the ground with an audible thunk. A gentle snore, a cross between a snore and almost a rattle of mechanic parts, slowly starts issuing out of his now unconscious form.
Go back to the door and I whistle.
Okay.
Do they hear me?
Hey, Fenrir, roll me a perception check.
Oh shit. And that 20. Holy shit.
Yeah, Iris and the pirates have just gotten back to you, and they're trying to explain that Bear didn't come with, and they're not sure what's going on. And you hear this whistle coming from the building, and you also hear a rustling in the woods behind you.
Whistled the Fenrir tune.
You whistled.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Sure. You recognize the whistle. You very much know it's Bear.
I'm gonna go over to the suit of armor.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask the suit of armor to pick up Melkor and carry him.
It doesn't move. Hey, Fenrir, you still out in the woods wondering what to do about a whistle?
So you said I did hear the snake rustling?
Oh, you heard rustling in the woods. Snake or not, you don't know.
I'm gonna start heading back towards the building again that I was in.
Okay.
And get us to basically the back corner of it and peek around to see if
So
the
the
snake-
outside back corner of it?
yeah, like
You're not going in.
no.
Okay. So you look around the corner and you see Bear standing in the blasted open doorway, standing there. She's like, you still hear rustling in the woods behind you.
I'm gonna hold until I wanna see where this rustling is going. I wanna
Okay.
see if I wanna see what happens.
It stops.
Do I recognize, does it sound like it stops like ahead of us? Behind, can I recognize where I hear it coming
You can
from?
tell it was still like you came walking out of the woods and it came slithering from behind you as you walked out of the woods.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm gonna go ahead and start going into her now.
Okay. Yeah, it was coming towards you, and you'd be, if you were running towards the building, it would be behind you.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go towards the building now.
Okay. You guys work your way up towards the school. The rustling seems to have stopped for the moment.
The pirates come with him.
Yes.
Okay.
And Iris. And they're all back at the door at this point. Here. And the suit of armor pretty much ignored you when you told him to pick up Malcor.
So, guys, Melkor's knocked out. Can we carry him back to the ship, please? Can we
Oh, yeah.
tie him up?
He's over here.
You're not showing the map anyway.
Oh.
Can we find stuff to tie him up with?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff in here that you can. Bunny rabbit entrails all the way up to like actual rope.
And yeah, our thugs had rope. I think that we should take his hat off, and didn't he have like monocles or goggles or something on? I think we should take anything that could even resemble something magical. We should probably just take it off of him.
Take his hat off and put it on my head.
Take his hat off and put it on your head. Okay. It's got a metal brim in it, and it almost feels like there's connections that maybe his hat plugs into some of his So it's not the most comfortable, but it's not doing any damage. As for taking things off of him that may or may not be magical, it's really hard to say because so much of it, like you mentioned, his eye, it's integrated. You'd have to dig it out like a Borg implant type.
Okay. Well,
It's in there.
if there's like a belt or any, I guess, wearable item.
So you strip him down to his underwear so he's not concealing any magical objects. Got it.
Yep, exactly.
Tie him up, and then I have the pirates carry him so we can carry him back to the ship.
So the pirates go cut out like a small sapling type tree and truss him up in between, like they did the Ewoks do in Star Wars in Empire, and they,
Like they're getting a pig ready for a spit roast.
exactly hung by his wrists and his ankles.
All right. Perfect.
As this is going on, Fenrir, on one of the tables, when you were in here earlier, you noticed it. It's been just, you keep glancing back at it. It's this chunk of metal sitting on the table with a gentle green hue to it. The light hits it and it almost shimmers green, but you can tell it's a really fine metal. Not quite sure what it is, but it's got your attention.
I'm gonna go and I'll snag it.
Okay. Relatively light for the size of chunk. It's the size of a football basically, but only weighs about 2 pounds.
Okay. So you just green metal.
Faintly green, but yeah.
Okay. Light green metal.
This is where I'm going to point out it's 10:30. So is this a good or 9:30? So is this a good place for us to stop?
I was going to say 9:30, so I didn't know if you wanted to stop here or back at the boat.
I mean, if you guys want to get to the boat, I'm good with that.
Depends on how long it's going to take us to get back to the boat.
3 dice rolls, and you tell me.
Okay. What are we rolling? 6s?
D6s.
Okay, 3 of them.
Yep.
Oh fuck me. 1, 4, and 3.
Okay.
6, 5, and 1.
Nice. You guys no more than step out of this cathedral and the giant snake appears between a couple of the buildings where it's wide enough. And it comes racing in and stops about 30 feet from you and just holds. You think it sees Malcor tied up as a prisoner and stops and holds and waits. Keeps its distance.
Playing the dissonant noise that it didn't like.
Okay. That 7 will be low enough. It turns and books it. Just seems to be no loyalty when it comes to this sound. You found a sound that really screeches on it hard, and it beats feet.
I will play that noise all the way back to the fucking boat.
I like it.
You do that, but you can tell it's pacing you through the woods. Every once in a while you get a glimpse of it, but you definitely can hear it 70, 75 feet off to your left. You get back into the monkey territory and you see them, but they're silent as the snake slithers along, pacing you guys, you playing this god-awful sound. But nobody's complaining because even the pirates have figured out what's going on here. Fenrir, you're the thought of leaving it alive is kind of bothering you a little bit, but maybe we'll see.
I think we need to take him back to town and get the reward money, and then maybe Tess and we can come back with a group to take care of the other.
I'm on. We're on the same wavelength.
You guys hit the beach.
I mean, wait a second. We can't bond. What am I doing?
She's people and people suck.
That's right. Yeah. God, what am I doing?
The rowboat, it's about 40 feet offshore, just kind of bobbing. Up on the shore, again, the beach is just skittering. And Iris, in all her glory, steps up and just starts like John Wayne in it. Just popping these things, clearing a path. Because unlike the snake, these ones seem to be just slowly working there. They're not fast. She's got time. But she keeps this bubble around you guys free. Every once in a while, you'll step on one. But for the most part, you guys make it down. The rowboat sneaks in and you load up. As soon as Melkor into the boat, the beach is just swarmed with these things, making a last desperate attempt to try to rescue him, it looks like.
Did
But
the
you get in,
snake itself seen it all?
not once you hit the beach. It seems to have stopped and stayed in cover.
Okay.
You suspect it's watching, but you guys scramble into the boat and work your way back to the narwhal, which is bobbing in the surf. Load, heft your cargo up onto deck, still snoring away. You just desperately want to squirt him with a little WD-40 or something. There's a squeak in that snore that is just reminiscent of a squeaky wheel. It's, whew.
Oh, it
On
can't
the
be.
ship, I will stop playing that obnoxious noise.
Okay. Tess wanders out of her stateroom, looks down at the deck, looks up at the two of you,
Gag him, please.
looks down at the deck, nods vigorously, and 6 pirates come running with more rope, gags, blindfolds, earplugs. This looks like the kit the other ship used when they tied the captain up. Like they've got a to-go bag for this contingency. And they truss him up. They've got his hands behind his back, but his palms are held in such a way that his hands are like this. So he's just definitely, and then his feet are folded up behind him. It doesn't look comfortable. And he just keeps snoring.
Now he's had 3 nights. They are supposed to last what? For a day at this point?
12 hours for the 3
12
of them.
hours. But they last 12 hours for one too. It's just how quick they go out, right?
No, a single one will last you 6 hours. 2 of them is more like 9. 3 of them is 12. And you could get run over by a herd of elephants and not wake up.
Okay, well, I only have 3 more of these left, so I don't know how we're going to get them all the way back to town.
Well, let's cage him. He's blindfolded and everything else. See if we can cage him. I think we'll be okay.
The wizard, I don't trust them.
Iris walks up behind the man and puts her fingers on either side of his skull. And when she pulls her hands away, there's orbs of energy circling like moons around a planet. She goes, that'll keep him quiet. The most words she spoke the entire, and turns, walks into the stateroom where Tess had come out and seems to just disappear into the darkness.
Well,
All right.
okay, Tess, how about we go talk about what happened on the island?
Alrighty then, should we set sail? Are we headed home? Is this
Let's head home.
it is yeah, and turns and heads back to her stateroom. Plops down in the chair behind her desk and gestures to a couple others in the room that you've come familiar with. And you pretty much give her a rundown. Is there anything you're excluding by intent?
No.
Okay. She just kind of leans back and listens to this story and just shakes her head. She goes, I thought we were going to get some baubles or trinkets out of this. Maybe some antique knowledge, or you're not coming through at all.
May still be more there, but we need to take care of him first before we go back, I think.
And by take care of,
Go
What?
turn it in. There's a huge
Go turn him
reward.
in?
Oh, there's a reward on him. That's cool.
I mean, there's no. Just kidding. Yeah, no, there's a reward.
Being that it was me that knocked him out, I think that maybe me and Fenrir should get half.
Yeah, I'm sure we could split whatever reward comes with this person.
Chip can
I mean,
have the other half for
transportation and logistics, and you did do the hard work and you did do the dangerous part. I can see my way clear of splitting it with you. Yeah,
I mean, you were supposed to be hiring us. I think this will cover our fee.
but you also mentioned going back.
Absolutely, we can go back.
How soon?
Well, I don't think we want somebody else to land there before us, but
Yeah, rumors do travel.
especially once they find out he's been captured, we'll want to probably turn around right away.
But did anybody really have knowledge that he was there? Because I feel like if he was this widely wanted, I feel like people would have more, I don't know. Maybe that's just my.
We may want more muscle because that snake is just. I shudder.
I mean, I sliced into it pretty good, but it's big. It's big. And then I'm just gonna daydream about the bloodbath for a little while.
Like cleaning out underneath your fingernails and snacking on it.
Blood chips.
Right. So do we get him back to town?
You guys sail back the 3-day journey fairly uneventfully, and you arrive at the docks to a bustling seaside in the early afternoon of day 3 on the way back, which you're ahead of schedule by a whole day because you got such great time getting there. And I think at this point we will do the logistics of what we're going to do with your captive and everything else next time.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
Awesome sauce.
That was a fun one.
I enjoyed sticking you in a building being crushed by a giant snake.
That was
have to
good.
admit, that was
I like
fun.
that. That was a good time.
Enjoyed knocking him out with sleep candy.
With snacks.
Yeah, you played that beautifully. I like it.
It's like, how the fuck? I can't, like, he's a high enough level that I can't take him on one-on-one.
And the crazy thing is, I looked at it from the viewpoint of you talked him into voluntarily consuming them, so he automatically failed his saving throw. There was no attempt.
Love it.
It took him completely by surprise. They hit him like a freight train, and he went click.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was beautiful. So
That was well played, is what it was.
yeah, no, that was awesome. I liked how it all played. There was no plan at all, and it all played out perfect. That was beautiful.
And that's why once you get a good team together, especially people that start understanding how the others roll, and you really start grasping and embracing, I think of it as the Grog syndrome. He would do things like, what's an alphabet? Well, obviously Travis knows what an alphabet is, but Grog don't. And then Pike starts teaching him the alphabet, and he knows the letter G. It's just owning it. But being a professional voice actor, that's what they do for a living. So
Oh yeah.
It's fun to see any attempt by mere mortals. And
I'm having fun. This is good. It's good stuff.
like
You need to turn your head towards the microphone.
tomorrow.
That still didn't work.
Ah!
She's got to go to bed because she has a job.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Cool.
well, I think we're good for next weekend. I'll have to double check with Joe because I know we're leaving. Or no. Yeah, no. Let me talk about it. We're going down southern Florida to go visit her dad and sisters and stuff. So
Gotcha.
we're leaving on the 3rd, which I think is actually no. So yeah, we're gonna be gone Sunday, so I won't be good for next weekend.
Okay.
We're leaving Saturday, so
Oakley dokley. Gives me
Yeah.
more time to plan your doom next time.
sweet. Weekend
the-
after that should be good.
It's the catch-22. You give me a week to plan, I'll build you something decent. You give me 2 weeks to plan, you might be in trouble.
Sweet deal. I like it.
Like a giant snake, you know. I just
No, that was good. I like it. It's fun.
go.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you again here shortly then.
Okie dokie. Peace out, brother.
Bye. Love you guys.
Bye. I love you.